So good morning, everyone. Good morning, sir. I'm Gadwin E. Conyada, together with my co-presenter for this morning, Miss Hermione Astrid Agne and Jamaica Centillas. So to formally start, let me discuss to you a brief history of virtue ethics. So first, what is virtue ethics? Virtue ethics is an ethical theory that emphasizes the development of individuals' moral character and virtues as the foundation for ethical decision making. Unlike consequentialist or deontological perspectives that emphasizes the results of actions or adherence to moral laws, virtue ethics centers on the cultivation of virtuous qualities within oneself. Now, virtue ethics boasts a rich historical lineage, tracing its roots to ancient Greek philosophy, particularly the writings of Plato and notably Aristotle. Now, Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics, penned in the 4th century BCE, stands as a seminal text in the development of virtue ethics. In the medieval era, Christian thinkers like Augustine and Aquinas employed virtue ethics to shape their ethical perspective. Augustine integrated virtues into a framework that encompassed theological virtues like faith, hope, and charity, aligning with his Christian beliefs. Now, in the latter part of the 20th century, virtue ethics experienced a resurgence in the modern era. Philosophers like Elizabeth Anscombe and Philippa Foot played pivotal roles in revitalizing interest in virtue ethics. They achieved this by critiquing consequentialist and deontological approaches and advocating for a return to an ethical framework centered around virtues. Now, the distinct ethical decision making approach adopted by virtue ethics is what renders it pertinent in moral philosophy. Instead of prescribing specific rules or assessing actions solely based on their outcomes, virtue ethics underscores the importance of developing a virtuous character. Advocates of virtue ethics contend that an individual with moral excellence guided by virtues will instinctively make ethical decisions across various situations. This ethical framework also acknowledges the intricacies of real life situations, prompting individuals to assess the context and apply practical wisdom when making ethical choices. So today, virtue ethics is a respected and influential ethical theory providing a unique viewpoint on moral philosophy that emphasizes the formation of virtuous character as the way to ethical living.
For the methodology, it employs a multi-faceted literary analysis approach to delve into a virtue ethics, combining philosophical frameworks with literary analysis to scrutinize the complexities of moral character, virtues, and vices. The methodology adopted is naturally anchored in textual analysis and the application of known literary theories. For the result and discussion, we have the virtue ethics based from Aristotle's concept of eudaimonia. Aristotle's virtue ethics is deeply rooted in the notion of eudaimonia. It often translated as happiness or human flourishing. In Aristotle's ethical framework, the ultimate aim of human life is to achieve eudaimonia, which represents a state or well being and fulfillment attained through the cultivation and practice of virtues. For Aristotle, virtues are not merely intellectual concepts or abstract principles. Rather, they are qualities of character that enable individuals to lead a good life and attain eudaimonia. Virtues are habits of action and disposition that are developed through consistent practice and are aimed at achieving excellence in various aspects of life. A key aspect of Aristotle's understanding of eudaimonia is that it is not solely about experiencing pleasure or momentary happiness. Instead, it encompasses a broader and more enduring sense of fulfillment that arises from living in accordance with one's virtuous nature and fulfilling one's potential as a human being. Virtue ethics emphasizes the growth of moral virtues as the path of eudaimonia. It is rooted in Aristotle's philosophy, prioritized the development of moral virtues as the means to achieve eudaimonia or human flourishing. According to this ethical framework, cultivating virtues such as courage, temperance, justice, and compassion is central to living a good life. The pursuit of eudaimonia involves honing these virtues through habitual practice, fostering a balanced and virtuous character. By embodying these virtues, individuals can navigate life's challenges more effectively, foster harmonious relationships, and attain a deeper sense of fulfillment and well being. Ultimately, the path of eudaimonia is virtue ethics lies in the continual growth and application of moral virtues, enabling individuals to live a meaningful and flourishing existence. Virtues are not just actions or habits, but are essential qualities of a person's character. These virtues represent deeply ingrained traits that shape an individual's disposition and guide their behavior consistently across various situations. Unlike fleeting actions or occasional habits, virtues like honesty, courage, kindness, and integrity are intrinsic aspects of a person's moral identity. They inform how individuals perceive the world, make decisions, and interact with others, forming the core principles that define their character and ethical framework. In essence, virtues constitute the fundamental essence of a person's moral being, influencing their choices and actions in a profound and enduring manner. Virtue ethics emphasizes practical wisdom or phronesis for making ethical decisions. Phronesis involves a practical reasoning and the ability to discern the morally right course of action in specific situations. Unlike theoretical knowledge or rules based, phronesis is about practical judgment developed through experience, understanding context, and applying moral virtues. It allows individuals to navigate complex ethical dilemmas by considering the nuances of each situation and determining the most morally virtuous course of action. In virtue ethics, cultivating phronesis is essential for making sound and morally grounded decisions that align with virtuous living. Virtue ethics is a continuous process of self improvement. It sees moral action not as the system of predetermined laws or results, but as a path of ongoing self improvement. It emphasizes that the foundation of moral behavior is the growth and nurture of virtues. Types of virtues. The concept of virtue has been explored and defined by philosophers and moralists for centuries. Aristotle proposed a categorization of virtues into two primary categories. Number one is the intellectual virtues, and number two is the moral virtues. Intellectual virtues is the virtue that enables us to acquire and use knowledge effectively. These virtues, such as intellectual honesty, open mindedness, curiosity, and intellectual courage, contribute to the pursuit and application of knowledge. They enable individuals to seek truth objectively, critically evaluate information, remain open to new ideas, and approach learning with integrity and rigor. Epistemic virtues guide individuals in acquiring knowledge ethically and using it responsibly, fostering a reliable and principled foundation for understanding and decision making. For the example of the intellectual virtue, we have wisdom, the ability to discern what is true, good, and beautiful. Prudence, the ability to make sound judgments and decisions, especially in difficult situations. Creativity, the ability to generate original ideas and solutions. For the moral virtues, we have virtue that enables us to act in a morally good and responsible manner. They shape one's character, influencing actions and choices toward what is considered morally right or good. Moral virtues serve as a moral compass, helping individuals navigate ethical dilemmas and interact with others in ways that promote fairness, kindness, justice, ultimately contributing to a virtuous and responsible way of living. Moral virtues have examples such as justice, courage, temperance, humility, and love. Justice because it involves the fair treatment of others and the adherence to ethical principles. Justice is essential for fostering a morally sound and well functioning community. It involves giving each persons their due, respecting their rights, and ensuring that everyone receives equitable treatment. Justice therefore plays a crucial role in maintaining social order, resolving conflicts, and upholding ethical standards. It is not merely about following rules or laws, but it encompasses a deeper understanding of what is fair and morally right. It involves considering individual circumstances, cultural context, and the impact of actions on others to ensure fairness and equity for all. Courage is considered a moral virtue in virtue ethics because it enables individuals to act in accordance with their principles, facing challenges, fears, or difficulties with bravery, determination, and integrity. This involves standing up for what is right, even in the face of adversity or opposition. taking ethical risk to defend principles, values, or beliefs, even when doing so may be uncomfortable or challenging. It allows individuals to overcome fear or hesitation to act in ways that align with ethical values. It enables them to confront moral dilemmas, speak out against injustice, or take necessary action for the greater good. Courage empowers individuals to uphold their virtues and moral principles despite potential risk or ethical behavior. It requires individuals to assess situations carefully, make morally informed decisions, and act in alignment with their convictions even in challenging circumstances. Temperance is regarded as a moral virtue because it involves the moderation and self control of one's desires, appetites, and emotions. It enables individuals to achieve balance, exercise restraint, and act in accordance with reason and ethical principles. In virtue ethics, temperance is about finding the middle ground between excess and deficiency in one's action and emotion. It involves the ability to manage impulses and desires, avoiding excessive indulgence or extreme behaviors. Temperance allows individuals to make thoughtful and deliberate choices rather than being driven solely by immediate gratification or passion. Humility is also considered a moral virtue because it involves an attitude of modesty, openness, and self awareness that fosters genuine respect for oneself and others. Virtue ethics value humility as it plays a crucial role in shaping a virtuous character and promoting harmonious relationships with society. In virtue ethics, humility is characterized by a realistic assessment of one's abilities, recognition of limitations, and an absence of excessive pride or arrogance. It involves a willingness to acknowledge one's imperfections, learn from others, and accept constructive criticism with grace and openness. Humility is essential for virtuous living because it cultivates an attitude of empathy, understanding, and respect towards others. It encourages individuals to listen to differing perspectives, appreciate the contribution of others, and collaborate rather than dominate in interactions. Love embodies compassionate and caring attitudes toward others, fostering positive relationships and contributing to a morally virtuous life. Love, in virtue ethics, goes beyond personal affection. It encompasses a broader sense of goodwill and care for humanity. It involves recognizing the inherent value and dignity of every individual and striving to act in ways that promote their flourishing and well being. By cultivating the virtue of love, individuals contribute to creating a more compassionate and empathetic society. It encourages cooperation, mutual support, and altruistic behavior, fostering a sense of unity and understanding among people. These two categories of virtues are not mutually exclusive. They are often interrelated. For instance, an intellectually virtuous person is more likely to make wise, and just decisions. A morally virtuous person is more likely to seek knowledge and understanding. These virtues encourage a sincere desire to learn, explore different perspectives, seek truth, and engage in meaningful discourse. A morally virtuous person recognizes the importance of understanding the world, making informed decisions, and contributing positively to society, fostering a continuous pursuit of knowledge rooted in ethical principles. The cultivation of virtues is a lifelong endeavor, requiring consistent effort, practice, and reflection. Cultivating virtues involves deliberate and consistent efforts to internalize and embody ethical qualities such as courage, honesty, compassion, and resilience. It requires a commitment to practicing virtuous behavior in various situations, learning from experiences, and reflecting on one's actions to refine and strengthen virtuous habits. This continual process of self improvement and moral growth is essential in nurturing a virtuous character and sustaining ethical conduct throughout one's life. By developing virtues, individuals can become better people and contribute to a more just and harmonious society, according to Velasquez et al. 1988. By cultivating virtues such as empathy, fairness, kindness, and integrity, individuals contribute positively to their communities. Virtuous behavior foster understanding, empathy, and cooperation among people, leading to a more compassionate and equitable society. When individuals embody virtues and act in morally upright ways, they inspire others and collectively create a social environment built on fairness, respect, and cooperation, consequently fostering a more just and harmonious societal fabric.
In the development of virtue ethics, in the historical perspective, virtue ethics can be traced back to the ancient Greece, where philosophers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle laid the groundwork for this ethical framework. Socrates in 470 to 399 BCE focused on the concept of virtue as knowledge of the good. He believed that the individual who possesses the true knowledge of what is good will naturally act in a virtuous manner, while Plato expanded the idea of Socrates, emphasizing the role of virtues in attaining a flourishing life. In his dialogue, The Republic, Plato outlined the four cardinal virtues: the wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice, which is essential for a well-ordered society. And Aristotle, the student of Plato, refined the concept of virtue ethics, providing a comprehensive account of the virtues and their role in human flourishing. In his work, The Nicomachean Ethics, Aristotle distinguished between intellectual virtues, which is the wisdom, understanding, and prudence, and the moral virtues, the courage, temperance, and justice. He believed that virtues are acquired through consistent practice and repetition. In the revival of virtue ethics, after the centuries of dominance by deontology and utilitarianism, Virtue ethics experienced a resurgence in the 20th century. This revival was spearheaded by several influential philosophers like G.M. Anscombe, which challenged the prevailing ethical theories of deontology and utilitarianism, arguing that they failed to capture the full complexity of moral judgment. One philosopher, Alasdair MacIntyre, emphasizes the role of virtues in shaping one's character and moral identity. He argued that not merely individual traits but are embedded within social practices and tradition. And there are also this philosopher named Philippa Foot who explored the concept of internalism in virtue ethics, which suggests that what makes an action right or wrong is determined by the virtuous character of the agent performing it. So, the virtue ethics in modern era. Virtue ethics emphasizes the crucial role of virtues in shaping our moral judgment and actions. It argues that these virtues, such as courage, justice, and compassion, are not simply internal traits but are deeply interwoven with the social practices and traditions we participate in. So, virtue ethics are not mere moral guidelines but essential components of our character and identity. They influence how we perceive the world, interpret situation, and make moral judgment. It was not developed in isolation but are learned and honed through our interactions with others and within specific social contexts. In cultural norms, tradition, and institutions all play a key role in shaping our understanding and practice of virtues. The virtue ethics offers a more holistic and nuanced approach to morality than other ethical frameworks. It focuses on not just on the rightness or the wrongness of actions, but also on the person who acts, on the context in which the action takes place. It emphasizes the importance of the personal growth, the self reflection, and continuous improvement. For the relevance of virtue ethics in moral ethics, virtue ethics is a well known and long lasting moral philosophy that provides a distinct perspective on how humans should make ethical decisions. Unlike deontological and consequentialist theories, it emphasizes which emphasizes rules and consequences. Virtue ethics emphasizes the development of virtuous character attributes to the foundation of moral behavior. Um, Philosophers such as Aristotle says that the moral perfection is about the building of virtuous character rather than simply following laws or obtaining good results. Aristotle defined virtues as tendencies to behave, feel, and reason in a ways that it enhanced human flourishing. They are habitual patterns of behavior that helps humans to make solid moral judgments and effectively pass through moral dilemmas. So, in the virtue of virtue ethics, unlike the consequentialist and deontological theories, virtue ethics offers a holistic and nuanced understanding of morality. It considers not only the consequences of actions, but also the character of the person acting and the context of the situation. This makes it more sophisticated and realistic approach to moral decision making. Virtue ethics focuses on cultivating positive character traits such as courage, justice, and compassion. This contrasts to the theories that emphasizes rules or consequences, which can be impersonal and rigid. By focusing on the character development, virtue ethics encourages the people to become better individuals and contribute to positively to the society. Virtue ethics places a strong emphasis on individual moral education and development. This means that by taking responsibility for one's own moral growth and actively seeking out opportunities to learn and improve. And this theory rely on the external authorities or rules to guide people's behavior. Virtue ethics promotes universal guiding principles of ethical behavior. This makes it relevant and applicable across various cultural and theological contexts. And additionally, uh, virtue ethics provides practical guidance for everyday life as it focuses on the cultivating of virtues that can be applied in real life situations. It goes beyond simply on the following rules and regulations. It encourages every individual to strive for moral excellence and self perfection. For the vices of virtue ethics, um, virtue ethics offers a promising approach to moral philosophy. It is not without its drawbacks and potential for abuse. Virtue ethics does not provide explicit, universally applicable rules or principles for moral decision making. This can make it difficult to determine the right course of action in specific situations, especially when dealing with complex moral dilemmas. Critics argue that this lack of clear guidance can lead to moral relativism and inconsistency in ethical judgment. The definition of virtue can vary significantly across cultures and historical periods. This raises the questions about the objectivity and universality of virtue ethics and its ability to provide a common good for ethical discussion across diverse groups. And also, virtue ethics may be vulnerable to the risk of perpetuating existing cultural biases and prejudices. In some situations, different virtues can appear to conflict with each other. For example, pursuing honesty may acquire revealing a hurtful truth, potentially violating the virtue of compassion. Virtue ethics offers little guidance on how to resolve such conflicts, leaving individuals to navigate complex moral dilemmas without clear direction. The emphasis of the character development and practical wisdom in virtue ethics may not provide sufficient assistance when facing challenging moral situations. Some individuals may struggle with applying abstract virtues to concrete circumstances, especially when dealing the conflicting values or unforeseen scenarios. This may lead to confusion and uncertainty about the appropriate course of action. So, a core principle of virtue ethics is that developing a virtuous character is more important than simply following the rules. However, this focus on character development can sometimes overshadow the need for clear moral standards and guidelines. Uh, the critics argue that without established norms, individuals may struggle to distinguish between genuine virtue and self-serving behavior disguised under virtuous pretenses. And this is our references, and thank you for listening to our report.